His face is reconstructed because he was shot in the face. And how is it reconstructed? He grows a beard and he puts on shades. Hello, Ned. Hello, I'm Ned. This is Lee. Yeah, my name's Lee, and we have watched another movie. Yeah, if you can call it that. Yeah, I know what you mean. It was another martial arts movie. Now, we're quite martial arts heavy on this channel, but we won't always be, don't worry. We will, we won't. We're going to be covering other things very soon. Yeah, more martial arts, no, other things as well. Anyway, today we watched a movie from 1978. It lasts for 1 hour 36 minutes and it's called Game of Death. Drisley, Drisley, Drisley. Let's get into it. So this movie was released after Bruce Lee passed away. He passed away just before the opening of his biggest box office success, Enter the Dragon. Great movie. Yeah, it is a great movie. This movie is not so great. This movie they started filming this movie and Bruce Lee filmed a few fight scenes and that's all. But they wanted to cash in. Let's be honest, it's not they wanted to honour him and his final wish to make this movie. It's not that this was the movie he always dreamed of making. It was nothing like that. They wanted to cash in on his name after the success of Enter the Dragon. Yeah, so what did they do? They hired a little guy who looks nothing like him to play him. Yeah, so right, how do I explain this? We open with Bruce Lee, but his name is Billy Lowe, and he's played by, I don't even know, some guy who doesn't look like Bruce Lee. We get the final scene of, well, the final fight, I should say, from Way of the Dragon, which is a good movie, and that's Chuck Norris versus Bruce Lee, and it's a real good fight, and we get almost the whole thing reenacted here. Yeah, well, not reenacted, just they just show it again. Yeah, they do just show it again. When the fight stops, we see Billy Lowe, this guy who's not Bruce Lee. So they used the actual footage from the movie Way of the Dragon with Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, and now we've cut away and we're back to this guy who's playing Bruce Lee but playing Billy Lowe. And he is standing in a certain place on the movie set. He steps away and a camera or a light or something like that comes crashing down and almost squishes him, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a dad on in. It is. During this whole movie, there are clips of Bruce Lee interspersed in fights that he didn't film. And it's a bit odious as we see different backgrounds. For a start, when he's fighting someone, we see a close-up of Bruce Lee's face and he's got like bright coloured wallpaper behind him. They weren't even trying, and we get the dodgiest, worst CGI I have ever seen in my life. It's horrible. Right, but let's speak about the movie anyway. Bruce Lee, it turns out some criminal syndicate want to cash in on his success. Yeah, like the Mafia, they're trying to get him to sign up and join them and take a lot of his money. Yeah, but he refuses. So they try to take him out in various ways. They stop him in the street and try to fight him. Yep, he beats them all up easily. Yep. Eventually, we see the actual footage from another Bruce Lee movie, Fist of Fury, and another good movie. I've not seen that. Well, that's a really good movie. Quite a sad ending, but spoiler for Fists of Fury. The very end, it shows Bruce Lee's character being faced by a load of cops, and all these cops have their guns drawn, and Bruce Lee decides to go out fighting. He dives towards all the cops with a big kick, and you hear gunshots. Oh, great! Thanks for spoiling it. Well, I mean, it's 50-year-old. Like, yeah. No. But while he's filming this scene in this movie, he is shot by an actual gunman. and he gets shot in the face. Oh, yeah. So he takes this as an opportunity to fake his own death. And we see his girlfriend Anne mourning. We see all his friends and co-stars, and we see all these people mourning the loss of Billy Lowe. And the worst part of this is they use actual footage of Bruce Lee's funeral. So we see the actual corpse of Bruce Lee as he is taken through the streets of Hong Kong. I think it's Hong Kong. Yeah. Pretty grim. So the reason he did this was to get out of the shadow of the syndicate and also to protect his girlfriend Anne, because she's a singer and she's been threatened by the syndicate, and she's told if you or Billy Lowe, your boyfriend, don't sign up with us, then you're going to be in trouble. You're both going to be in trouble, but especially you, but especially him. So luckily, his face is reconstructed because he was shot in the face. And how's it reconstructed? He grows a beard and he puts on shades. That's it. Yeah. That's his facial reconstruction. A beard and a pair of sunglasses. He finds out where the syndicate operate from, and it's a nice big house. And he climbs over the wall and he finds the head of the syndicate instantly. And the head of the syndicate, the head of the syndicate is this 80-year-old man, and he's out watering his plants or something. And Billy Lowe goes up and starts to choke him to death until he's disturbed. Yeah, he's just choking this old man. Very heroic. Yeah, but he's disturbed. He runs off, and everyone's like, who was that? Who could that have been? I've never seen that man before in my life. That man has a beard and sunglasses on. I don't know who that could be. And they're all confused. Do you know who Robert Wall, Bob Wall? Yeah, right. He was in Enter the Dragon and a few other Bruce Lee movies. He is a tough guy. He really is. He, on camera in these movies, he takes some actual beatings, doesn't he? Yeah. It is cool, yeah. Well, he's in this movie as one of the henchmen for the syndicate, and he gives chase to Billy Lowe. Yeah. Just for a short while. Yeah, he loses him, yeah. Later, Bob Wall, again, is in a ring. I guess it's a karate tournament or a kickboxing tournament, because it's like a kickboxing ring. Yeah, and he's fighting this guy, and it's the big long fight, and It's for the championship, I think, and then there's like hundreds and hundreds of people in attendance, and it's a massive thing, and then Anne shows up, and Anne has a gun, and she's going to assassinate her boyfriend's assassin. Yeah, but an old Chinese man approaches her, an old Chinese man in traditional Chinese, ancient Chinese clothing, approaches her and says, this is not the way, or something like that. He's not the Mandalorian. No, right, well, you know what I mean. So she rethinks it, puts her gun away, and then Bob Wall wins his fight in the ring. Yeah, big celebration, and loads of his friends and followers follow him back to his locker room, and they're all celebrating, popping champagne, and that girl. Yeah, so there are reporters and camera crew and all that there as well, and a whole entourage, and there's this pretty blonde woman sitting on her own, and Bob Wall just goes up and says, what's your name? And she tells him, and he says, hey, this is my new girlfriend, everyone. Take photos and make sure everyone knows she's mine. And she just smiles. Times have changed. Yeah, they have, thankfully. So Bob Wall, high on his victory and high on getting just taken a new girlfriend, he says to everyone, wait here, I'm going to go and have a quick shower, I'll come back and we'll all celebrate. So they're all in there drinking champagne, having a great time. And then Bob Wall, in the empty locker area of the changing rooms, sees a Chinese man, an old Chinese man in ancient Chinese traditional clothing. And then instantly, that Chinese man has changed to Billy Lowe. There's no sign of him disappearing for 10 seconds or 20 seconds to disrobe all this stuff. There's no scene of him popping off his fake moustache or taking off the little hat or anything like that. He's just instantly, it's like Bob Wall blinks and he's a different person. So they start to fight, and this is one of the scenes where you get Bruce Lee, you get close-ups of Bruce Lee's actual face, and the background's totally different. It's so obvious. It's ridiculous. It is. And, you know, I love Bruce Lee movies. Yeah. And, but this one, it's a hard watch. It's a really hard watch. Billy Lowe absolutely smashes Bob Wall, who's just had a big championship fight, to be fair. He kicks him into a locker, and apparently that's enough to end his life. Yeah, so all his mates come out, and they're like, what's happened? And Billy Lowe runs off. Yeah. The syndicate start to put two and two together, and they think, wait a minute, that guy who attacked our 80-year-old boss, there was something familiar about him. That guy who we saw fleeing the scene of Bob Wall's beating, there's something familiar about him. So they take the only sensible course of action, and they decide to exhume Billy Lowe's grave. Because remember, he faked his death. Yeah, so they go to the graveyard and dig up his grave and open it up. And they see Billy Lowe. That is a tater. That it's a papier-mâché head. It's a papier-mâché head of Billy Lowe. Papier-mâché head of Billy Lowe. And I'm just thinking, what's the point? Yeah, why? Why bother? Did he think, oh, I bet someone will dig up my grave someday? Yeah, why? Strange. Anyway, they realise Billy Lowe is alive and well and wearing a beard and sunglasses. Anne finds Billy. She's also worked out he's alive. She finds him. They have a not so emotional reunion that's kind of like, oh, hi. It's a bit underplayed, understated. And then she is chased by a gang of bikers. Yeah, not like Hell's Angels. No, like kill looking bikers. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the other type of bikers are cool looking in their own way. Yeah, these are different. Yeah. So these have got the, well, you'll see one of them's got the infamous suit. So with Anne as a hostage, the syndicate lure Billy to this warehouse. And Billy goes in, and all these guys on motorbikes, all the bikers, start trying to run him over. Yeah, so he fights them off, and he hides, and he jumps out and kicks him in the head, and things like that. Now he quickly takes one of the costumes, the coolest one. Yeah, he takes the coolest costume from one of the bikers and puts on the helmet, and he pretends to be one of the bikers. But he doesn't really try to fool anyone. Well, one guy, well, the last guy, or maybe the last couple of guys, but he could have been like, hey, I saw him come this way, and then beat up a guy, you know, lured them into traps, but he just goes up and starts beating them up. And then the last guy, he gets on a motorbike, and the last guy says, wait, lift up your visor, because he's wearing a crash helmet. Lift up your visor, and Billy won't do it. And he keeps saying, lift up your visor. So Billy does the sensible thing and drives the front wheel of his motorbike into the guy's face. Yeah. Martial arts. I suppose the helmet's pretty good, because you can pretend it's Bruce Lee and no one will know. Well, I think that's another reason they included a scene with bike helmets. Yeah. They knew what they were doing. Cashing in. Yeah. Back outside the warehouse, Billy fights one of the syndicate's main bodyguards, main assassins, a guy called Stick. Stick? Yeah, Stick. And they have a fight in the rain, and it's a really cool scene, even though it's, you know, it's not Bruce Lee, but it is a really cool scene. Before he takes this guy's life, he discovers from him that Anne is being held in this big building. I think it's the syndicate headquarters. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. He goes in and enters the house, at the bottom floor, and there are like 5 stories or 5 floors to this house. Yeah, it's pretty cool, because it's like a video game, and he has to beat someone, got stairs, beat someone else, got stairs, beat someone else. Yeah, that's why it's called Game of Death, and it is a cool concept, and I think it would have been a great movie if it had been completed properly. Yeah, that it wasn't, and it isn't. Billy walks into the building and meets Dan Inosanto. He was one of Bruce Lee's students, and he's basically made his name from that fact. And he's a great martial artist, you know. This fight scene and the next few fight scenes are actually Bruce Lee. Finally! Yeah, these are the fight scenes Bruce Lee filmed for the movie, and then didn't get to complete the rest of the movie. Yeah, so finally we get some actual Bruce Lee fighting, and it's really cool. This first fight, they use what do you call them, nunchucks? Yeah, nunchucks. Yeah, and it's a big long fight, and it's really cool, and Bruce Lee wins. It's a hard fight though. Yeah, he doesn't win easily, but he wins. Yeah, then upstairs he goes. Yep, up to level 2. In level 2, he meets a hand-to-hand expert, and they have another cool fight. And it's no weapons at all, so it's really cool. Yeah, loads of action. A lot of the prototype NNA. Yeah, see, that's the thing about Bruce Lee, a lot of people forget. He was kind of the father of, everyone credits him for bringing Kung Fu to America and making it a big thing, making people want to learn Kung Fu and Karate and things like that. But really, he was the first known practitioner of mixed martial arts of the 20th century anyway, you know. The same way as fighters in the UFC today take boxing, kickboxing, karate, judo, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and take all the best parts and use them as one style. So Bruce Lee really kind of brought that to the forefront, but people don't really realise that. So anyway, great fight with this guy, some wrestling, some judo, some karate, kicking and punching and choking, and he beats that guy, and then it's up to level 3. Yeah, what was that? A video game sound, if you say so. Now on level 3, Bruce Lee meets Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And if you don't know who Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is, he was a professional basketball player, and he was an airplane, and he's in this film. Yeah, and he's 7'2". Bruce Lee is like 5'6", I think. Yeah, I think you're right. And it's a crazy fight. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gives a big kick to Bruce Lee to start the fight, and you see a massive footprint on Bruce Lee's chest, and it's pretty cool, and it shows the size difference instantly. It's a very good device. The fight is great. It looks crazy because this tiny little guy is going up against this big giant guy. Yeah, and luckily Bruce Lee wins. Yeah, he does beat him eventually. Another hard fight though. And then it's up to the next level, but before he can go up to the next level, the right-hand man of the syndicate, the sort of sub-boss of the syndicate, comes down the stairs to meet him. And he's like this older white guy, isn't he? Yeah, he's just like this guy. You'd think he's a bank manager or something. That he goes mental and starts fighting and kicking and gets a good scrap. He has a good scrap with Bruce Lee, and it's pretty impressive. So he beats this guy and then goes upstairs to the final level to try to find the syndicate boss. Yeah, and you're back to fake Bruce Lee. Yeah, we are, I'm afraid. That was all the scenes Bruce Lee filmed for the movie, and now we're back to this fake dude. Fake Bruce Lee, Billy Lowe, goes up the stairs and he sees the syndicate boss, the old 80-year-old man, sitting behind a desk. He goes up to him and he realises it's a waxwork. So and breaks it and says, "Wax!" And then he starts to head out down the corridor, and then he sees the real 80-year-old man. Yeah, and he chases him. He chases this old guy, and they go out onto the rooftop of the building, and the old guy instantly falls to his death. Fake Bruce Lee looks down at his body, and then a big colourful circle comes around his head, and that's it. That's the end credits. That's it. Yeah. it's what happened to Anne? I don't actually know what happened to Anne. Maybe I missed something. Let us know if I did. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. An old man falls to his doom. Oh, karate. No, listen. Well, that's the end of that. So what did you think? Oh, do you know what? I really like the Drizzly bits. Yeah. And I really like the fact that it's Drizzly at all. Yeah. But this is rubbish. I'm sorry. That is terrible. It wasn't great. It was rubbish. It was rubbish. We're going to go. Hit like, hit subscribe, watch another video, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Goodbye. Rubbish.